Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be learning about congruence and transformation. This is going to be chapter 4 lesson 1 for you. So let's start by learning what is congruence and transformation. Now, if I just ask you before I explain what is transform, what does it mean to mean by transforming? That means it is to change. Okay, now someone transforms themselves means that they have changed themselves. So similarly, the same meaning applies here also in geometry. Transformation means the change in the position, shape or size of a figure. So the change in the shape, making a shape bigger or smaller, or changing the size of a figure, or changing the place of a figure, that's the position it is in, that's called as transformation. Okay, now there are four types of transformation. The first one is translation. In easy words, that's called a slide, just to move it. Okay, so you can move a figure up, you can move a figure down, you can move a figure to the right, you can move a figure to the left. This is called as translation. The other one is reflection, also which is called as a flip or a mirror image, as what you would see in a mirror. This is called reflection. Rotation is to turn around, so we can even turn a figure around depending on the number of degrees they ask us to. Usually it's going to be 90 degrees or 180 degrees. And the last one is dilation, which is change in size but not in the shape, means to make a big figure bigger or smaller. So it depends on the question whether we are going to make it into a small or a bigger one, but we cannot change a triangle into a square. That's sure. These are not the, because in transformations, especially in dilation, we just expand or reduce the figure. We don't change their shapes. In fact, in none of these four, we change the shape of a figure. The shape remains the same, only the size can change. That too in dilation. In this three, we don't change the shape size at all. Okay, now these are some examples of how these look like. Now, if you rotate figure A, so it will result in figure B. So this is an idea just to give you all how it looks like. So rotation looks like this. Then reflection, as I said, this is a mirror image. So as in geometry, we cannot put a mirror and say find the reflection. So we have the x-axis and the y-axis. These two act as our mirrors. The next one is translation. Translation, the easier word was slide. So figure A, if it slides down, it will be like this. So it has a slide or down and to the right. You will learn them slowly one by one. This is just to give an idea only. Now this is dilation. Now dilation usually has two parts, enlargement and reduction. So together you will learn that, but this is an enlargement shown in this picture. This is A. So if it is enlarged, if it is used as a dilation for enlarging, so you will find as figure B. See, it's this change in size, not the shape. All of them have changed the sizes. Changed the shape. No, they have just changed their places only. We have not changed their sizes. So let's move on. Now these are the rules you need to follow when you follow using transformation. Now these are the ones representing transformations in the coordinate plane. These are the four kinds of transformation and these are the rules we need to follow. Now let me teach you one by one what this means. Translation. Now these are the coordinates. Of course, we are going to work on the coordinate plane. So we will be having the coordinate, the x and the value of y. We will have both of them. So we are just going to deal with these numbers. So in translation, you will have to either add or subtract a, that is a can be any number. It depends on the question or it depends on the rule which we are you finding out. So this a and b here, they stand for any number. Okay, a can be any number, b can be any number. So we will add or subtract values to x and y. This is called translation. I will show you after this in detail what are the rules of translation, as they have not been given in your book, but those rules are important so that you know whether the figure has been moved to the right or it has been moved to the left or it has been moved up or down. So you will learn from those rules in detail. For now, just remember that if you can add the number of units, these are units, a and b are units, to x and y to translate. You can add or you can subtract. Now, coming to reflection, if there is a reflection across the y-axis is the standing one, okay? So if there is a reflection across the y-axis, the values of x and y will be like this. So, for example, if a figure has coordinates 5 and 4, when it is reflected across the x-axis, it will become negative 5 and 4. It's very easy, okay? So, just listen carefully to what I'm saying. If a figure has a coordinate of 5 and 4 in place of x, it's 5, in place of y, it's 4, then if there is a reflection across the x-axis, it will become negative 5 and 4. You will have to follow the same rule for reflection across the y-axis. Easily you can remember, if there is a reflection across y-axis, the x becomes negative. If the reflection is across y-axis, the x-axis becomes negative. Easy to remember that way. And the same way, if there was a reflection across x-axis, y becomes negative. So it's the opposite. Reflection across y, the x is negative. Reflection across x-axis, the y is negative. So this is for reflection. You will follow this rule. All right, let's go for rotation. Now, rotation has two parts, okay? Now, if it was a rotation about 0, 0, this is called the origin, which is the center of the coordinate plane. Just the center, 0, 0, 90 degrees clockwise. Clockwise means the same way which the hands of a clock move. This is clockwise. So if it was about the rotation about 90 degrees clockwise from the origin, then the coordinates will be flipped. For example, if x was 3 and y was 5, so here when the rotation has been done, the coordinate will be 5 and negative 3. This is how you have to change the coordinates. If it was 3 and 5, when the rotation is done clockwise 90 degrees, your coordinates will become 5 and minus 3. It's better you write down so that you can understand what I am saying. Write down at least the numbers so that you will understand the change of numbers. Then let's see what happens if there's a 90-degree counterclockwise. Counterclockwise means the opposite side of the clocks of a hand move. So that is counter. Counter means opposite. So the opposite side of the hands of a clock move, that is 90 degrees rotation from the origin. What happens to x and y? Again, they switch places. Of course, they switch places and the y becomes negative. Here the x became negative when it was a clockwise rotation, and here the y became negative when it was a counterclockwise rotation. So if the values of x was 4 and 6, what will happen if there was a rotation about 90 degrees clockwise? It will become, I said 4 and 6, so it will become negative 6 and 4. Write down the numbers and see what has happened. Write down 4 in place of x and 6 in place of y. So once the rotation is done for 90 degrees clockwise, your new coordinate will be negative 6 and 4. Clear? I know it's new. Definitely it's new for you and it's a lot, I can understand. But once you learn the rules, you will just do it within seconds. Okay, the next one is rotation about 180 degrees. So 180 degrees is a complete flip of the figure, because 180 is a angle on a straight line. It's almost like a reflection. Okay, so what happens is, if x and y, for example, if the coordinate was 3 and 4, if there was a rotation for 180 degrees from the origin, then it will be both negative. So it was 3 and 4, it will become negative 3 and negative 4. Okay, so if the coordinates are changed from 3 and 4 to negative 3 and negative 4, you need to understand that there was a rotation of 180 degrees from the origin. That was about rotation. That's the only one which might confuse you. Other than that, it's all easy. So this part of rotation, yes, you need to concentrate a bit. Now dilation means to make it bigger or smaller. Now it has a factor, it has a scale factor. Only if they give you a scale factor, you can make the figure bigger or smaller. Like if they say make it 2 times bigger or make it 3 times bigger times this number is what this letter K stands for. So K stands for any number which the dilation factor is. So if the dilation factor is half, it can be half also. It not necessarily only has to be bigger numbers like 2 or 3. That's to make the figure bigger. If you want to make the big figure smaller, of course you need to reduce the size. So K can be in place of any number, that is depending on the dilation factor. Always dilation factor will be greater than 0. How can you reduce a number by negative numbers? You cannot. So the dilation factor will be that number multiplied, the dilation coordinate will be that scale factor multiplied by the value of x, the scale factor multiplied by the value of y. So if you have a question, dilate the figure with a scale factor of 3, which means you will multiply the value of x and y with 3 each. Okay, now let's go on. Now this is important to remember. In a transformation, the original figure, that's the question, the figure they give in the question is called as the pre-image. Pre means before. The meaning of pre is before. So the before image is the image in the question. The one which we are going to draw newly is called as the image. So there are two. Pre-image is the question, which is the image which is in the question, and the new figure we are going to draw is called the image. Now this is the detailed part which I was talking about in translation. Now this is what they have given in most in the textbook. Okay, so here what I say is, if it was x plus any number, as I told you, a can be any number. If it was plus a, means it is moving to the right. The picture is moving to the right, the figure is moving to the right. Similarly, if it was negative a, that means the figure is moving to the left. It's normal. Like if anything is negative, they say it's going to the left. If anything is positive, they say it's going to the right. It's like that. So if you're adding a number with x, that means the figure has been moved to the right. If you're subtracting any number from the value of x, that means the figure has been moved to the left. Similarly, if you are adding a number to the y, that means the figure is moving up. And if you are subtracting any number from y, it is coming down. They just like your marks. If you're getting more marks, means your level goes up and up and up. If you're getting less marks, means if you're minusing your marks, means your level comes down and down and down, same way. So you can remember that way too. Okay, so if it was plus, means it's going up. If it was minus, means it's going down. Okay, and let's look at an example. Apply the transformation M. So this is the transformation. See, this is the rule they have given us. M to the polygon with the given vertices. Identify and describe the transformation. So this is the rule which they gave us, the transformation of x and y. And these are the coordinates they gave us. And they want you to identify and describe the transformation. So first, let's draw how the figure looks like. So these are the coordinates 1 and 3. So this is 1 and 3, 1, 3. This is point P. And then I have Q, which is 1 and 1, and 4, 1, which is R. So if I join, I will get a triangle. This is the pre-image, as this is the question, this is the image in the question. This is called the pre-image. Okay, now we are going to use this rule for these coordinates. For each coordinate, you need to use the rule. Okay, so let's start with P. So P is 1 and 3. So what is the rule? They told us x minus 4. Now what did I just explain? If you subtract a number from if you are subtracting a number from x, that means it is moving to the left. So you have to understand this figure has to be left to the pre-image, somewhere to this side. So 1 minus 4, and then I will add 1 plus 1, which means it's going up. So your figure should be left up somewhere in this area, the new figure. Okay, so 1 minus 4 will give you negative 3, minus 3, and 3 plus 1 will give you a 4. Now this is the new coordinate for P. Okay, similarly we need to follow the rule for all. Q, 1 and 1. What is the rule? 1 minus 4. So x minus 4 means 1 minus 4, y plus 1 is 1 plus 1. So what is the new coordinate? We will have negative 3 and 2. Then similarly for R also, you have to do for each coordinate. 4 and 1, the rule was x minus 4. So x minus 4 means 4 minus 4. And y plus 1, 1 plus 1. So 4 minus 4 is 0, 1 plus 1 is 2, right? Now, As I told you, what did we guess from this? Our figure needs to be something to the left and up. So left and up means somewhere here. Let's see if the figure is somewhere in this place. So let's draw the new coordinates now, starting with P, that's -3 and 4. So it's here, that's P, the new image. Then -3 and 2, which is Q, and 0 and 2, which is here, which is for R. Let's join and see. See, it has moved to the left up, a bit up, you can say, not too much up, because it has moved only 1 unit up, not more. But it has moved 4 units to the left and 1 unit up. So this is how your image looks like, and this is your pre-image. It's easy, only you have to remember the rules, that's all. So you have to, of course, they said identify and describe the transformation. So this is translation, it is a slide, it is the translation, and you also need to mention how many units. So how many units? It's 4 units to the left and 1 unit up. So that's how you need to write. This is a translation, 4 units left and 1 unit up. Let's move on to another example. So here they have given us the rule xy should change to x negative y. So which transformation did we find this rule in? The value of y will become negative. That was only in reflection. If it was reflection along the x-axis, the value of y will be negative. That's what we learned from the table. For your reference, you can just look at the table until you get used to it, but later on, of course, you cannot look at the table. Okay, so starting with, okay, here, these are the coordinates of the pre-image, the one in the question, 1 and 2, 4 and 2, right, and 3 and 1. So 4 and 2, 3 and 1, A, B, C. So it's a triangle. So we need to use this scale factor, this rule, to find out the image. So let's try, as I told you how to do for each coordinate. So A, B, C. Let's start with A. The coordinate for A was 1, 2. So the new coordinate is going to be x minus y, which means 1 minus 2. Just the y will change. Same for B. It's 4 and 2. The y will become negative, which will be 4 and minus 2. The next one is 3, 1. Now C is, the new coordinate for C is 3, negative 1. So what was it? If the, which reflection was it? If the y was negative, it was reflection across the x-axis. So let's draw this and see how does the new figure look like. This is your new figure. This is the pre-image and this is the image. As you can see, this is a reflection along the x-axis. It cannot be along the y because this is y. If it was along y, it has to be somewhere in this place, but it is here. So because it's a reflection in the x-axis, the figure is here. So the rule, the transformation is a reflection across the x-axis. Hopefully it's easy. It is easy if you understand it, but try to do some more questions so that it will be more easier and you will get practice. So let's try out some questions. So this is the table. Now this table is very important, as you know, that you need to remember. Okay, let's try out some questions. The transformation apply the transformation M to the polygon with the given vertices, name the coordinates of the image points, identify and describe the transformation. So you need to do 3 things now. What do you have to do? You have to apply the transformation. Let me underline these so that you have to apply the oops. Okay. Oh God. Okay, you're gonna apply the transformation. I don't know why it's becoming so. Let me highlight it. Okay. You are going to apply the transformation, and also you are going to name the coordinates, okay, of the image points of the image, and then you're going to identify the transformation. So 3 things you need to do. Let's start with the first one, apply the transformation. So let's apply the transformation first. This is the transformation they gave us, x minus y. Now, as you know, the y became negative. That means from this itself, you need to understand what kind of transformation is that. Now, if you have remembered the easier way I taught you, what becomes negative? How does the y become negative? When there is a reflection across the y-x-axis. So all what you have to do is write down the new coordinates. What's a is 2, 1. So if you apply the transformation rule, that will become 2, negative 1, because the y will change to a negative 1. So similarly for b, we have 5 and 4. So if you apply the transformation, that will give you a 5 minus 4. And c, you have 5 and 1. So if you transform that, you will get 5 minus 1, because all the values of y has become negative. So from this you need to understand that it is a reflection. You have to, of course, identify and describe the transformation. So reflection across which axis? You have to write the axis. So here all the values of y are negative, which means there is a reflection across the x axis. Next question is, the xy has transformed to 3x, 3y. Now there is a scale factor here. So the scale factor is 3. Which transformation had scale factor? The only transformation which has a scale factor is translation. So from this rule itself, you can identify that it is a translation with a scale factor of 3. So when describing the transformation, you need to say it is a translation with a scale factor of 3. But then we have to write the coordinates of the image. So let's write the pre-image coordinates and change them to the image coordinates. So 3x, which means 3 multiplied by negative 2 will give me negative x, because it says 3x. So you need to multiply each of this with 3. So 6 and 3. The next one is q, which is negative 1, 2. Now you multiply that with a 3, you will get negative 3 and 6. And r is 0 and 1, which when you transform it, it will have the coordinates of 0 and 3. 3 zeros are 0, 3 ones are 3. So the transformation is going to be a translation with a scale factor of 3. This is how you describe the transformation. You need to say what transformation and with what scale factor. You need to say which transformation across which axis. If it was reflection, you have to mention the axis. If it was translation, you need to mention the scale factor. Let's move to another question. Here again, it is xy and y minus x. So from this, you need to identify what kind of transformation is described here. From the table, now if you have the book with you, you can see from the table which one has changed to y minus x. Y minus x is only rotation, that too 90 degrees clockwise. So that means the rule given for you is for rotation with a 90-degree clockwise from the origin. So y minus x says that. So let's go on to the question and write the coordinates of the image. So L is 3, 1. When transformed, that will become 1 minus 3, because they said y stays first. So y, the value of this is x and this is y. So y stays first and then x becomes negative. So the same rule you will apply for all the coordinates. We have 3, 4, and when it is transformed, it will become 4, negative 3, and then we have n, it's 5, 4, transformed it will give 4 minus 5, o, it's 5 and 1, when transformed, y will come first and then x will become negative. So these are the coordinates of the image. So what kind of transformation is this? You have to mention the transformation, rotation. They said about 0, 0. That's the origin, or you can even say it's the origin. Rather than saying about 0, 0, you can say about origin. So transformation about origin or 0, 0. And how many degrees? It was 90 degrees clockwise. So only for rotation you need to mention three things. In fact, four things. You have to mention that it's rotation. This is the first thing you need to say. And from where? That's the coordinate. You have to say it's from the origin. This is the second one. You have to say how many degrees and you have to say in which direction. So rotation about 0, 0, 90 degrees clockwise. Let's go to another question. Now this will be a last question. If you want, you can solve more questions from your textbook. There are many questions. So if you keep solving, you will understand them better. So the transformation given is x minus 3, y plus 2. Now for which transformation did we learn that there are, you have to add or subtract numbers? The only transformation you have to add or subtract numbers is for translation. So this is going to be a translation. Now minus 3 means it is moving to the left and plus 2 means it's moving up 2 units. That's why I told you write down the rules so that it will be easier for you to revise. Let's see. Now let's first write the coordinates of the image. So D is 4, 1, 4, negative 1. When transformed, that means x minus 3, you have to subtract 3 from here, and y plus 2, you have to add 2 to this. So 4 minus 3 will give you a 1. Minus 1 to plus 2 will give you a 1. So this is the coordinate for the image, 1 and 1. So for E, it's going to be 7 and 3. When transformed, this is an E. Okay, so that means you need to subtract 3 from x and add 2 to y. So 7 minus 3 is going to be 4. 3 plus 2 is going to be 5. The last coordinate, that's F, is 7, 1, negative 1. So you have to subtract 3 and add 2 to y. So 7 minus 3 will give you a 4 and negative 1 plus 2 will give you 1. So these are the coordinates of the image and these are for the pre-image. So what kind of transformation is this? This is a this is a translation. Now when you're saying it's a translation, you need to mention how many units up and how many units up or down and right or left. So minus 3 means 3 units left. Translation off, it should be off there. 3 units left, 2 units up, as it's plus 2, which means it will move up. Same I told you for the marks. If you get plus marks, your level goes high. So the up, the same way, if it is plus means the units go up. And if it was for subtracting of x value, that means it's going to the left. So this is a translation of 3 units left and 2 units up. Hopefully you have understood the lesson. So for more practice, don't stop here. You need more practice. Of course, you can check the pages of your book. You can practice. So till we meet in another video, keep practicing.